Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. And today we are talking about the hustle trap that we fall into as business owners, as people, people in the Western world, but especially as women, because this really goes against kind of our, we'll say, more natural rhythms, right? It goes against a lot of people's natural rhythms, but with us as women in business, we a lot of times feel, and I know I have felt this way, where we feel like we're doing all the right things, but we still feel like we're stressed and stuck and overwhelmed, and like things just aren't really flowing in our life. And we feel like we have to keep doing more and doing more and doing more, and that what we're doing isn't enough, right? Because we're not maybe getting the results that we want, or we're not seeing the results that we want. And so today I want to have a conversation about that hustle kind of culture, how we get trapped in it, and hard work, like I know for me, has probably got you to where you are now, but it's really not getting you where you truly want to be or where you want to go further. And I really truly believe that right now, our world is changing a lot. People's views on life and success and what that really means and what we want to do with our lives is starting to shift and change. And I've noticed a lot of people, it's less about the material things, right? It's more about how we want to live our lives, how much time we want to have, freedom of space and time to, be with our family, do the things we want to do, and not be glued to our businesses the way that, business owners used to be, right? And some people still are. So we really want to look at this hustle trap. And so I wanted to speak on this today. And so I've got my notes here, and hustle is not just about ambition. It's different than that. We can be ambitious and not be hustling all the time, right? Ambition is just having this drive to have more for yourselves or to go after things, right? But it doesn't mean it has to be hard. And it doesn't mean we have to work really, really hard, right? And so for a lot of us, what we have, put this idea when it comes to our success or our ambition or our drive is that like, I have to work hard to do it, right? And that in itself is a bit of a block for a lot of us, but it's rooted in a survival mechanism. It's not actually rooted in success. It's not actually rooted in it's not rooted in success, and it's not rooted in the ambition, right? It's rooted in a survival pattern that we've been taught and we've been conditioned, whether that's our upbringing, society, just how we function, especially in this Western world. So I really want you to take a look at like, for you, what is your hustle hiding? So I know for me, my hustle hides this fear that if I don't do enough, or if I'm not doing something, then things are going to fall apart or things aren't going to work, or things aren't going to be successful, or I feel like I should be working hard. Right? I feel like I should be doing all these things. It's a should instead of like I really want to. But I feel like for me, it really is like this conditioned piece that it's like I don't even realize sometimes I'm doing it, but I'm working all the time and I'm hustling all the time. And as much as the things I'm doing might not be challenging, I've always been very good at like just filling my time with things. I always like when I have space, I find things I got to do, right? It's like there's never this true, unless I'm really intentional about it, which is important and which I'm going to talk about, but there's never really just this like downtime that I'm just like, oh great, I get to like do nothing. Like I do have those moments of like, okay, I have space and time to, watch the show I want to watch, read the book I want to read, go out with friends, go out with family, right? Do all those sorts of things. But if I have space and time and a lot of things that I want to do in my business, I feel like I just like cram all of these things into like a short amount of time, and then I burn myself out. And I have constantly kind of ended up in that loop myself, and I'm now starting to recognize before I get to that burnout space, because I know it's not healthy and it's not helpful, because I am, as much as I'm putting effort into things and I'm like working, but then it's like it sets me back a week anyway, so it's like there's no point. Rather than being more consistent with my energy is way more supportive for me, but also my business as well. So if we look at hustle, it's really, like I said, it's kind of like a trauma response. It's a survival mechanism. And it kind of goes along with what I was saying, how I felt, and maybe you felt this way of like, if I don't do these things, like it's going to fall apart, like things are going to just crumble, right? And it's basically us feeling not safe in the quiet, right? In the moments of, again, rest or not doing things or taking a break or taking a vacation, right? And so there can be a lot of different signs that we're kind of in this like hustle mode. It shows up a lot of different ways. And sorry, I'm just going to move here. For some of us, this shows up as like hyper independence, where we are like nobody else can do it right, or I can't give this to other people because it's gonna, again, fall apart. So we get into this trap of like, I have to do everything. And maybe you feel this way in your relationships, maybe you feel this way in your family, maybe you feel this way in your business, right? Like whatever, this could be a lot of different elements, especially if it's like a common theme for you is this like overworking. And so yeah, it can show up in that way, as well as it can also show up as in like over responsibility, feeling like, well, if this didn't work out, then it's my fault. So kind of taking on that role of like, I'm the only one who dictates how this goes. And feeling like we have to like hustle to prove our worth in that sense, right? Because we don't ever really want to feel, most of us, that we're the problem, right? Like, why would we? But we don't want to feel that we're the problem. So we naturally will start to, take that on ourselves, especially when it comes to like our businesses. And especially if you're someone who's in a business that has a transformation that people are going through, it's very easy to take that on at like for yourself, right? And be like, oh, they didn't get the transformation, so that means I suck, right? Which sometimes that's not the truth. Sometimes it's where the people are at. Sometimes it's their own effort and their own energy that they're putting themselves through, or that they're just showing up with. And I think it's important to recognize that if people do want to have a transformation and people do want to get better, that they need to recognize that like they play a very strong role in their own transformation, right? And so we need to take that onus off of ourselves. That's a big thing I've had to learn, and I'm still learning in my practice, because not only my coaching, but my physical practice with osteopathy is like, people come to you with problems and expect me to literally treat their body and fix them, right? And I have to remember that as much as someone comes into my appointments or into my treatment room and says, fix me, doesn't always mean that they really want to be fixed, right? So I think that we have to remember it's a two-way street. And so putting all that pressure on ourselves, again, is not serving anyone. I actually was reading a book. I just started reading a book. I don't have it with me, but it's called The Map of Consciousness Explained. It's by Dr. Hawkins, and in it, they talk about the very beginning of it. He talks about how he had this client, and she just had all these things going on, like so many things, and a lot of different like extreme things. And he was just like, I don't know how to help this person. Like I don't know how to help this person, and like I don't know if I can help her, right? Like, she's got a lot going on. But she was like really wanting to work with him and whatever. And he just said like to himself, like he was basically like, okay, what I can give her though is love. And so I think again, it's like more so about creating space for people, and rather than us putting all this pressure to like, we have to do it and we have to hustle and we have to work so hard, and everybody reaps those benefits, right? So that's like a long a long version of that. But this hustling gives us this sense of control. It gives us this sense of like, well, I'm in the driver's seat, so now I can control whether this is going to work or not. And so in that perpetual state of giving and working and working and working and not ever slowing down because it doesn't feel safe enough. So some of the symptoms that you might notice if you've been hustling and you're kind of in this dysfunction, or if it's like a pattern that shows up for you a lot. So one is like very easily feeling anxious on like vacation or time off, or like during downtime. So maybe it's like the weekends and you're like, I gotta check my phone all the time, gotta check my emails all the time. Maybe it's vacation. Maybe if you're anything like my boyfriend, it's like you're out of your routine for long enough and it's like the world's ending, right? It's just like antsy and feeling anxious. And those are all signs that like we're struggling with having rest and having downtime. I would highlight that in those moments, those are good times to move your body, especially if you're feeling like antsy, like I have to go do something. It's like an anxious, pent up type of energy. So definitely moving your body is going to be very supportive for a lot of these things, because it's this like hustling feeling like we have to go do. So like sitting and meditating is going to feel really hard. Checking emails compulsively, even on off hours. This can dysregulate us from our nervous system, by the way. So this is not only just like a pattern that we live and like maybe emotions and stuff behind it, but it does dysregulate us as well. Getting sick every time that you slow down. So I don't know if you're that person where you go on vacation and then you get sick and you're like, why now, right? Like, why not, a week ago? And you feel like you need to earn your rest, joy, celebration. Like you feel like you have to earn it and it can't just be given to you and it can't just be something that comes easily. So again, this is this dysregulation. This is nervous system dysregulation, but also this emotional component and this subconscious belief pattern that really starts to show up and has us believe that if we're not on all the time, the whole world is going to fall apart. And that's totally survival. That's very much fear-based thinking, right? And it keeps us in this loop, right? And it burns us out, truthfully, if we keep going this direction. Whether you've had that burnout already, find yourself in it repeatedly, or haven't been there, but you're on your way, right? So yeah, we just need to realize that like, we don't need to reward ourselves for burnout. Like I think that paradigm is really very much shifting, but now we have a lot of people realizing like, okay, I don't want that, but like, how the heck do I prevent it, right? And so it's through this deeper work that like your systems and your strategy and stuff aren't always going to help, because in business, sure, you can be like, oh, I'm going to automate everything. But then you're going to have all this downtime and your body is going to be freaking out and you're just going to fill your time with other things and burn yourself out again, right? So it's just going to move on to like the next thing. So yeah, basically we're re-regulating that and treating and teaching our body that it's safe to rest, it's safe to be relaxed, it's safe to be not doing all the time. And I think sometimes, honestly, in our world, the way we are with everything so fast paced, like I know I sometimes think about like, when I'm like, oh, I can't wait to slow down my business stuff so I can read a book. And you're like, am I just filling my time more with other things? But it's genuinely something I want to do and genuinely something that I enjoy. So I think in that there is good. And it's not me hustling, because I do get that chill, relaxed time, and it does take me away from the thing that I am hustling about. Now, if I'm trying to like crush a book and just like finish it in a certain amount of hours, then maybe there's a little more hustle into that. But for the most part, it usually is like a downtime type of thing. So if we can start to shift that, then we can start to take better action, more aligned action. We can start to feel more safe and actually enjoy the relaxed time. Because again, you can implement all these strategies, but if your body doesn't know what to do when it's restful, one, you're going to resist those strategies, and two, you're going to feel awful. Like you're going to feel absolutely terrible. So if we really want to build our businesses with ease, we really want to live our life with ease and just feel very connected to things, this is kind of that more feminine side of business, is like having structures, systems, strategies in place from a business perspective, which is not what I treat or teach. But those things are good. Those are the masculine container. But then we need the feminine side of like our body, of like, okay, how am I handling those things? So do I handle rest well? Am I actually resting? Am I releasing these stored patterns, beliefs, whether they're subconscious or patterns even just like in the body? All of that is what I teach and what I work with women with. But that's going to help alongside the strategy to really help you be able to actually live this feminine business, because we can have the structures in place, but if that still doesn't feel safe, it's not going to work, right? Take it from somebody who knows. I've been working on this stuff and working through these blocks and realizing like there is a big piece of me that has a hard time slowing down as much as I want it. It's scary, right? And I don't know. And I'm like, how am I going to make money if I don't like work all these hours, right? And it's getting out of these different like mindsets. And being able to delegate those things when the time comes. But I can only do that when it feels safe, because I will either come up with every excuse, or there'll always be a hurdle or a roadblock or something that gets in the way of me actually living in that feminine side of business. If my body doesn't feel good with it. And it's like you subconsciously, we'll say sabotage, use that term loosely, but we subconsciously sabotage because we're actually trying to protect ourselves because it doesn't feel safe. So we have to teach ourselves that it feels safe. So some of the ways that we can actually start to look at our energy, a big one that I've been paying attention to myself is like tracking my cycle. And that helps you figure out like where you are in your energy. So you're going to feel really low in your energy like a week and a half to 2 weeks leading up to your cycle. And that doesn't mean you can't do anything. It just might mean that you just like for me, I'm like, okay, still doing work. I sometimes need a little bit more rest, but like I'm okay doing work. I just don't really want to be on camera. I don't really want to be doing things like that. You know what I mean? Like I want to kind of like hermit a little bit, be in comfy clothes, like, you know, whatever. And so it's just knowing your energy levels and take advantage of the times when you do have a lot of energy and you do feel like you can get a lot done. Creating space for just hobbies and things that you love to do, vacation time, like again, structure or start to restructure your schedule, especially if you very much follow, but like take a break from work and go for a walk. Take a break from work and go read a book. Like you can go do something else, but just start to implement these like moments where you start to step away from what it is like that you're working on, and reiterate and do something that feels safe for you and your nervous system. This can also be like any sort of movement. You can do breathwork stuff. You can do meditation. You can, I don't know, pull some cards, do whatever, right? But create space. The more that you can start to create this space, you're gonna get more comfortable doing it. It took a while for me to feel not guilty about taking a day off to just like watch some shows, be in my comfies, read a book, you know, and not be like on all the time. And that takes time, it takes practice, and you just have to start small so it's not so much on your nervous system. And again, there's tools and things that you can use to kind of help you through that process. And then letting your business support your life and not having it override. So we get into business because we want it to give us a certain life. But then what happens is we get in business and we have all these like, we'll say wounds or shadow aspects or conditions or upbringings, like beliefs, all these things that kind of start to show itself to us. And then it's like our businesses start to run our lives instead of the opposite. Like our life should be able to be supported by our business, but our business shouldn't be like running the show and just be like the star of the show, right? And I don't think we get into business for that reason, and then we get caught in this trap, right? And time goes by and we realize like, what the hell am I doing? So I think it's like remembering and thinking about, how do I want my business to be set up? What do I want my days to look like? right? And how can I start to slowly shift that? And so getting clear on what you actually want that to look like, and then slowly tweaking things and implementing the tools so that that feels comfortable and that feels nourishing for you. So again, it's just really creating a different strategy, and it's really getting out of this like hustling, proving ourselves, having to like do all this work, having to constantly prove that we're good enough, right? And so that kind of leads me into a journal prompt, reflection question, however you want to kind of look at it. But I want you to ask yourself, where are you still trying to prove your worth? Where are you trying to prove your worth in your business, your schedule, your relationships? Like, where do you feel like you have to keep showing up? Because if you don't, that means you're not good enough. Or you're not going to be valued, or people aren't going to like you because of that, right? Sometimes I get like that with my osteo, where I'm like, I don't work all these crazy hours like some people do. And I'm just like, I don't want to work those hours. But then, you know, there's a part of me where I'm like, oh, like other people work evenings and other people work, you know, and I don't really want to have to work those things. And so it's like, how can I work through that myself so that I feel comfortable just being like, no, those aren't my hours. That's fine. Like, this is what I work. Take it or leave it kind of thing, right? And so how can we be a little bit more supportive for ourselves, but really working through that, like the proving ourselves, proving our worth and proving our value through the things that we do instead of just who we are and who we're being. And I would say like anything that you can do to incorporate any sort of nervous system resting. Again, for some of you, if you're really caught in this hustle trap and you're not totally burnt out. If you're burnt out, it might be a different story. But if you're in this hustle and you're in this grind and you're in this go, and I gotta push, I gotta go, moving your body, but in gentle ways, is gonna be very supportive for you. So again, going for a walk, stretching your body. You could do qigong, you could do breath work, tai chi. You could do all kinds of stuff, yoga, depending on the type. But a lot of, probably if you're in that hustle, you're probably like a person who like loves to go to the gym and like lift heavy weights and like run really far, like do all these like super intense workouts. And again, moving your bodies probably actually feels really good for you, but teaching your body how to slow down with rest is going to be important. And if you can start to do that with your body first, it'll make the rest of it a little bit easier for you, because you'll probably feel the most comfortable doing it from a body-based perspective than like a mind-based perspective first. Everyone's a bit different, so it totally depends. So just take that with a grain of salt. Now, if you're in a burnout stage, the movement is still going to be good. The low-key movement, tai chi, qigong, breath work, walking, stretching, all that. I find the comfier, the more burnt out I am, the comfier, cozier I can make it. Like, so stretching in my sweatpants, stretching in a nice big baggy shirt, maybe make the lights a little darker, candles, whatever, you can kind of like jazz it up if you want. Reading books, anything slow like that, but the movement's going to be really good for you too, because it's going to help get you out of the kind of more burnout stage, and get the energy moving again and get you flowing again. So I find movement's really supportive and helpful, but just do what you can, right? Especially when you're burnt out, just do what you can. It might start with breath work, and then it might move and evolve into something else, right? If you guys want more personalized support and want guidance from me, I do actually have a 12-week program called Elevate Her, which is where we go through all of this stuff, and I really meet you where you're at. And it's less about structure of like each week we do certain things. It's more of like 12 weeks together. There is a individual component where we first meet together, and then there is a more group component is the word I'm looking for. Group component with regards to group calls bi-weekly, and then a group community, and I'm in there answering questions and supporting you all throughout the 12 weeks. And we work through your subconscious blocks. We work through the emotions that are coming up. I help you with the nervous system tools. You get access to videos of tools and exercises that I'll continue to be expanding upon as my practice continues. So if you want something like that, reach out to me. I am taking a couple spots for July. And then, yeah, if you're interested in that too, there is another episode, the previous episode to this one actually, where I talk about the Elevate Her program. So if that's something that interests you, you can listen to that. You can also reach out to me on Instagram and just ask me any questions you have. No pressure there. But yeah, that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. I really hope that you were able to get out of the hustle trap, the hustle culture, and really live a life that feels in alignment, because I truly believe if you're living a life in alignment, it also won't feel like hustle. It won't feel like you have to hustle and grind and like, have this big like ego boost with it. It'll just feel natural, it'll just feel good. And it'll just feel supportive. It won't feel like this like title that you have to give it, but that's my 2 cents on it. So thank you guys for being here as always. I will be back next week for another episode, and we'll dive into the next topic. If you guys have any suggestions on topics you want, feel free to DM me on Instagram, or if you're on YouTube watching this, you can comment down below anything that you'd love to see or hear. My doors are always open that way. So but yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.